Good afternoon, and welcome to Math with Mr. D. Today, we're going to be talking about geometry and the vocabulary words that go along with it. Let's get going. Our first word that we have is point. Now, a point's an exact location in space, and it's represented by a dot. Here, you can see that this is our point, but also we have to label our points. So we're going to call this point A. That's really important that we also label the point, that we just don't make a dot on our circle, on our paper, but that we label it with a letter. Our next word is line, and a line's a set of points that form a straight path, and they go in opposite directions without ending. They're everlasting. They just keep on going and going and going. You get the point. You can see here the definition says a set of points, and here are my set of points, A, B. There's a couple of ways we can write or say this. One, we can just write line AB, or line BA. Those are two ways. There are two more ways too. We can write the letter AB, and then on top of it, we can make the line with the arrows on both ends. Or, if you don't like AB, we could write BA and do the same thing on top. It doesn't matter if we call it line AB or line BA, it's the same thing. The next word is ray. A ray is a line that has an endpoint and it goes on forever in one direction. You can see here I've circled my endpoint, and here's my ray. Keeps on going. Okay, notice a ray only has that one arrow. Two ways we can say this. We can say ray AB, or we can write it out AB with the ray symbol on top. We always want to put our endpoint first. Again, A is our endpoint. If I'm going too fast, I do apologize. Remember, you could always pause the video, stop the video, or even rewatch the video if you missed anything. Our next word is line segment, and it's a part of a line between two endpoints. Here's my line segment. Notice no arrows at the end, just the 2 points, okay? 2 endpoints, A and B. 4 ways we can say this. We can say it line segment AB, or if you want, we could call it line segment BA. Doesn't matter. Way number 3, we could write AB with a line segment on top. It reminds me of a fraction bar, or we can say line segment BA, write BA with the line segment on top. I'll get on to my next vocabulary word, and it's parallel lines. And parallel lines are lines that are the same distance apart, but they don't intersect. They never meet. You tell here, these lines will never meet. But if you look over here, one line is smaller than the other line. Well, do you think those are parallel lines? And the answer is yes, they are. It doesn't matter the size. It just matters if they're the same distance apart, and as long as they never intersect, they never touch, they never meet, they're good to go. They're parallel lines. We're coming across one of our last vocabulary words, perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are lines that meet each other to make a square corner, 90 degrees. You can tell here's a perpendicular line. And I know it's perpendicular because if I look here in the corner, I see a little box. That box is always going to tell me that we're at 90 degrees, that we've made a right angle. So it definitely is perpendicular. A couple other ways we could have perpendicular lines. They always don't have to be a perfect lowercase t, if you will. They could be an X. But as long as there's a box that tells us it's 90 degrees, then they're perpendicular lines. Same up here. I could have 2 parallel lines, parallel and parallel, and a perpendicular line. Well, how do I know they're perpendicular? Yep, you guessed it, because the red boxes are here telling me they're 90 degrees. I come across intersecting lines, and intersecting lines are lines that meet or cross at a point. You can tell here, these are intersecting lines. Here's my point, And here's my point as well. Notice there's no 90-degree box saying it's a right angle or a perpendicular line. Again, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause the video, rewatch the video, do anything you have to do to make sure that you understand this at home. Boy, I look up here and I'm seeing a lot of letters, I'm seeing a lot of lines. I'm going to break it down for you the best that I can. If I go too fast, pause it, stop it, rewatch it, do whatever you have to do. All right, the best way to look at this is to break it down piece by piece. Looks confusing, but hear me out. Parallel line and parallel lines, because these are lines that, these are lines that never meet, they never cross. So I will say that line A, B is parallel with line C, D. I can also say JB is parallel with CD. Remember, parallel lines, it does not matter the length as long as they're the same distance apart. So those are some parallel lines for you. Let me take a look at some perpendicular lines. I can look at A, B, and I know that it's perpendicular with E, F. Well, how do I know that? I know that because my box here tells me that it's 90 degrees. We'll look for intersecting lines next. I can look at line J, K, and I can tell you that it's intersecting with lines A, B, or lines C, D. I'm going to throw a curveball your way now. What if I ask you to identify a ray for me? Okay, well, I'll show you one example of a ray, because there are many. If you said JB was a ray, you're correct. Here's our endpoint, and there's our ray. HD can also be considered a ray. So can HC and GA and GE. See, we could keep on naming these and keep on going and going and going. Well, anyway, that's a little bit of geometry vocabulary for lesson 13.1. I hope that you learned something today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.